channel. This is Jeriz, and for today's video, I decided to create this simple and fresh look which you can wear to work, to school, or if you're going to have an online class. So if you want to see how I achieved this look, please keep on watching. I already moisturized my face using the Saem Jeju Fresh Aloe Soothing Gel, and now we're going to apply concealer onto our under eyes. I am using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in number 20 Sand, and I'm just focusing or applying it in the inner and the outer corners of my under eyes, in the middle of my brows, on the sides of my nose, on the lower sides of my lips, a little bit on my cheeks and on my temples, and then down the bridge of my nose. So the reason I just use concealer for this look is because I want it to be lightweight. I want the skin to still be able to breathe. And I am blending it now with a dry wedge sponge. So, bakit dry? Bakit hindi wet beauty blender? It's because I want to keep the coverage of the concealer consistent. If you are aware, the beauty blender soaks the products, therefore it shears out the coverage. Whereas to dry sponges, in this case I'm using a wedge sponge, consistent yung coverage ng concealer even if I'm blending it out. So if you don't have any wedge sponge at home, you can use your fingers. Just make sure that you washed and sanitized your hands before using it to blend the concealer. Or if you have a dense eyeshadow brush, you can use it to blend the concealer as well. So, since meron pa rin akong darkness na nakikita sa balat ko, I am putting a little bit more concealer just on the outer corners of my under eyes kasi dyan mas matindi yung discoloration ko. So, I'm just going to blend it out again using the dry wedge sponge. And pasensya na kung nabablock kayo ng salamin ko kasi first time kong mag-film ng ganito. Up next, we are going to use a cream blush. So this is the Cove Organic Clay Blush. Nauso to noong 2018, I think, kasabay nung Autumn Clay Blush. But the shade I'm using is Coral Cove, so it's peachy. It's a peachy clay blush, and I'm just using my fingers to apply this kasi with contact to the skin, mas nagme-melt ng mabuti yung clay blush. So I'm just using my ring finger to apply this on to the apples of my cheeks up to the under eye area. I got this technique from when I watched Rin Rin Doll when she did Sofia Nygaard's makeup look, the Japanese, when she transformed into a Japanese Lolita doll. So I am putting it way high, or I'm putting it on to my under eyes and then dragging the color to my temples so that it will look more natural. I will look more flushed and more glowy. Kasi yun talaga yung aim nung blush look na yun. And then after that, I'm going to apply the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Pressed Powder in number 220 Natural Beige. So before I apply the powder onto my under eyes, I am tapping tapping that area with my finger to make sure there are no creasing happening. And then I'm just using the puff that comes with the pressed powder. So, pat-pat lang. Hindi ko siya ini-swipe para meron pa rin siyang coverage. And then, I'm now using a large powder brush just to set the rest of my face, and also I put a little bit of powder onto my neck. Now we are going to do the eyebrows, but first I'm going to bake with the Cool Betty Natural Soft Pink Flawless Loose Powder. I got this when I was in China kasi naubusan na ako nung setting powder ko. So I just got this from stores that is the same as like Miniso or Mumuso, and then I just put powder into my under eyes, onto my nose, sa baba ko, and in the middle of my eyebrows kasi oily ako, so I have to bake. And now I just combed my hair with a spoolie, and then I put on some Nichido clear brow gel. And now I am using a small flat detail brush and dipping it into ColourPop x Kathleen Lights, the Zodiac palette. I'm using the Virgo and the Capricorn shade, tapping off the excess before applying it onto my eyebrows. So always make sure that if you are using this palette, in particular the Virgo and the Capricorn shade for your eyebrows, make sure to tap off the excess para matap off din yung glitter doon sa Capricorn shade kasi may gold specks of glitter yon. So I just mixed those two colors together to get my perfect brow shade. And we are using powder para magmukhang full yung eyebrows natin and defined at the same time. And it will also look natural. So without any other products, I'm just dragging the color into the front of my eyebrows para meron tayong gradient or fading effect para mas mukha siyang natural. Sorry na block na naman kayo. Okay. So as you can see, I positioned the brush as if the bristles were like in a vertical line, and then I dragged the color towards the front of my eyebrows, and then I combed it with a spoolie. So I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. Pretty much the same process. And actually the spoolie that I'm using has an eyebrow product on the other side, pero I didn't use it kasi mas harsh yung color when I use that eyebrow product, so I'm just going to use the spoolie. Okay, so this is actually a good trick if you want your eyebrows to look full but natural and defined. So usually I would put eyebrow gel after I put all of my powder products onto my eyebrows, but we're going to leave that at the end of this video. We're just going to finish the eye look first. Need some coffee. Okay, now onto the eyeshadow or the eye look. So first I'm going to put the Essence Camouflage Concealer in the shade 23 Warm Sand. Initially nung binili ko to, I was planning it to use under my eyes, pero mas sobrang bright niya, sobrang light na sa skin ko, so I'm just using it as eyeshadow base. And now that our concealer is blended, I'm taking a fluffy blending brush and I'm dipping it into Careline's Play to Slay palette. I'm using the light brown shade. Nasa third column siya ng mga eyeshadows. So I'm just using it to define my crease. Kasi diba nag-concealer tayo kanina to cover the veinings on my eye. So now we're just defining the crease, or we're putting back color onto the crease using the brown, the light brown shade in the Careline Play Display Full Face Palette. So as you can see, I dipped it onto the palette quite a few times kasi with the brush, hindi ganun ka-pigmented tong palette na to, which is actually good kasi you want to be able to build up the color instead of having a full-blown pigment and then having a hard time to take away the color kapag ka too much na. So I'm just putting it on my crease and actually everywhere, just so that we have like a light wash of color onto our lids. So I'm just making sure na pantay yung kulay sa eyelids ko, and then kasi napapansin ko dun sa left eye ko mas okay yung pigmentation niya, pero dun sa right eye ko dun talaga ako nagsa-struggle kasi kahit na anong lagay ko ng eyeshadow dyan sa corner na yan, parang wala pa rin. Okay, so konting blend na lang, yung tingin ko okay na to. Konting blend pa. Okay na ako dito. Up next, we are going to use the same palette, and I'm dipping my finger. I'm just using my finger, and I'm going to apply that pinky foiled shade na nasa first column ng eyeshadow palette. And I'm just using my fingers kasi kapag ka eyeshadow brush or packing brush ang ginamit mo, magiging chunky siya. So I'm just applying it lightly onto my lids, and then I'm taking more of that crease shade that we used earlier kasi nga problematic tong right eye ko. Alright, so now I'm going to take the same brush na ginamit ko sa eyebrows ko earlier, and I'm dipping back into the ColourPop x Kathleen Light Zodiac palette in the shade the Virgo, and I'm using it to line really close to my upper lash line para lang may definition yung mata natin, tsaka para magmukhang full yung eyelashes natin kasi manipis lang po yung eyelashes ko. And I used the brown shade kasi mas natural siyang tignan. And this is also my trick kasi messy ako maglagay ng mascara, and sometimes may nag-e-end up sa lash line ko, near the lash line. So this is also one way of concealing it if you are like me, applying mascara quite sloppily. I'm not gonna do any crazy wing action here, just following the natural curves of my eyes. And now I'm going to blend away the powder that we use kanina nung nag-bake tayo. By the way, again, just a disclaimer, I bake kasi oily ako. If you're not oily, you can totally skip this step. And now I'm taking a lot or a smaller detail brush. This is like a small pencil detailing brush, and I'm dipping it into the highlighting color in the Careline Play Display palette, and then I sprayed it with some moisturizing spray gel from Miniso just to wet the brush, and I'm putting it into my inner corners and in the inner third of my lower lash line. I'm also a fan of Korean makeup, that's why I do this, para ma-highlight yung aegyo line ko. And now I am using another small detail brush. This has a more dome shaped bristle, pero flat siya. So I dipped it into the crease shade that we used earlier, and I am laying down the color on the lower lash line, only on the outer third or on the outer half of the lower lash line. So once I'm satisfied with the color, I am now going to curl my lashes. This eyelash curler is not my favorite kasi hindi niya naka-curl yung lashes ko. But I got this when I was in China. Same store kung saan ko nabili yung loose powder na ginamit natin earlier. So just curling my upper lashes. And then after that, I'm going to take Ashley Shine's Glam'Eyes Day to Night Defined Length Intense Volume Mascara. I'm using the length cap or the length brush. And what I'm doing here is I am applying it and then I'm kind of brushing my eyelashes onto the opposite direction to make them look fuller. And isang trick na natutunan ko from one of the YouTubers that I watched before, I forgot who it was, but if you have excess product on your mascara wand, you can either wipe the excess onto the bottle itself, like kung saan mo hinugot yung mascara wand mo, or if you still have a lot of excess product, you can use a clean tissue paper and wipe the mascara off of the wand. And now I'm also going to put some mascara on my lower lash line just to give definition to my eyelash down there on my lower lash line. And then, like what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put eyebrow gel on my eyebrows. So I wasn't able to include this in the recording, but for the lips, I used Maybelline's Baby Lips Colored or Tinted Lip Balm in Cherry Kiss. And that's it. This is the final look. Simple lang siya. It's very easy to do. Tsaka pwede siyang gawing makeup when you go to school. Okay, so most probably this is also like a back to school makeup tutorial. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please click the subscribe button below and also click the notification bell so you get notifications every time I post. And thank you so much for watching this makeup tutorial, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!